us as we travel back in time to 1930s Budapest. It's a lovely summer's day, and Amalia and George, two shop clerks who can't seem to find common ground, start their day at a humble perfumery. It's She Loves Me, a tale of enemies to lovers to be performed by the students of UVM School of the Arts program in theater and dance this week. Good afternoon and welcome to Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. Now, I can assure you there is a 100% chance that I will not burst into song during today's program, and you're welcome for that. But you will not be so lucky at this week at UVM's Royal Tyler Theater. She Loves Me starts on Wednesday, and I promise their singing is much better than mine. March 26th through 29th, and they have a matinee on Sunday. And joining me to talk about bursting into song, pen pals, and perfume are the director of UVM's production of She Loves Me and a faculty member in UVM School of Arts and Theater and Dance, Lila Teitelman. And joining her is Audrey Buzza. She's a UVM junior who stars as the female lead, Amalia Balash. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
This is great. We don't always have live performers, so this is very exciting for me. And Lila, why don't you tell me a little bit for somebody not familiar with the story? What's it about?
Well, you pretty much got it in that intro. It's about Amalia and George, two shop clerks at a perfumery in Budapest. They are in a lonely hearts club. They're writing letters to people that they are in love with and they've never met. Little do they know, they're actually writing letters to each other. And then throughout the show, we sort of see their romance unfold in real time while they are writing to each other out of the shop. We also get to know everyone else who works in the shop and sort of their backstories and their lives together and their friendships with Amalia and George.
That's great. And if that sounds kind of like a familiar premise to you, She Loves Me has been adapted by Hollywood a few times. Some may know the 1940s film The Shop Around the Corner, starring Jimmy Stewart and Margaret Sullivan. And 90s rom-com fans likely know You've Got Mail, starring Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. So Lila, what about this musical regarding the shop clerks that's so relatable and adaptable?
Yeah, I was trying to think about this, and I think we just love people to root for as audience members. And the really lovely thing about this story is that everyone has a want, everyone has a purpose, and we all want them to succeed. Even the ones that are a little unsavory, sort of love them. You know, they have great characters. And I think this like enemies to lovers trope, we know something as the audience that the characters don't know yet. And I think it's nice to watch it unfold in front of our eyes and really be like knowing that it's gonna happen at the end, but sort of like waiting to see how they're actually gonna find out that who each other are.
Absolutely. And how have rehearsals been going?
They've been going so well. It's so fun. It's been such a fun rehearsal process. Everyone in the cast and the crew is just phenomenal, and they're so kind and fun to work with. And it's really great that we're at a spot where I feel like we're pretty solid in our blocking and our lines, and so we really get to start to play with it and have fun and get to really explore the characters. So,
sure, and with performance right around the corner, that must be a nice feeling. And so Amalia obviously is a 30-year-old shopkeeper who is pretty modern for the 1930s, but what is it like for you to play her?
It's been really fun. Obviously there are like certain ways that I can relate to her. We're both hopeless romantics. But it's also really fun to get to play someone who's in a different stage of their life than myself. And so it's been really cool to think about what I might be like when I'm 30 and looking for a job, or when I'm in that stage. And so it's been fun to find pieces of me in her, but also kind of learn from her and be like, she is very modern and she's assertive. She is confident in herself, and she stands up for herself and goes after what she wants. And so it's been fun to find pieces of her that I want to take with me as I go into the rest of my life.
Sure, a character to look up to a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And her big number is called Vanilla Ice Cream. So is this a challenging song?
Honestly, I think it's one of the easier numbers to sing. Anyone who's heard it knows there's a pretty high note at the end, but I think one of the harder parts of this song is her brain is all over the place. She's going through a lot of emotions, having a lot of thoughts. And so what's hard but also fun is getting to figure out what is it that she's thinking about that's making her switch from thought to thought. What is it that distracts her? What is it that makes her want to say these things? And so getting to know what those are, but also make it seem spontaneous
Sure.
is one of the challenges. But
sure.
yeah.
Is it hard to go from the beginning playing enemies and then kind of later on going to lovers within a couple hours? Is that a challenge?
I mean, I think not necessarily, because the attraction is always there. You know, there's always a little bit of something underlying the enemies, and so it's not necessarily, I think of it less as going from enemies to lovers and more of having this love for this person more subdued and deep down and letting it come to the surface throughout the show. Yeah,
that's a great way of thinking of it. And it's also it's a musical comedy, so is there also some challenge to making sure the jokes land and you hit all the right notes?
I think the script does such a service. It's just so funny. It's so funny. So really the writing does us a lot of favors in that they're not jokes that are necessarily too hard to get to land. But I think just kind of similar to what Lila said, we want to root for these characters, and what they're going through is very real for them. And as audience members, like, we want to feel that. And they're feelings that we've all had before. Pretty much everyone has had a crush on someone or had a friend who's had a crush on someone. And so having all these emotions that are things that we all know and feel, and the way they just put it is funny. So
yeah, that's great. And Lila, this story has been called a jewel box of a musical. So what is it like to take all those great attributes and put them to stage?
Yeah, it's such an interesting musical because it is like this classical musical theater piece. And then also, like, it's not huge and flashy in this way that a lot of sort of a golden age musicals are, with like these huge extravagant dance numbers, like nothing is being set on fire. So I think that it's just finding like the simplicity of the story and really like letting that shine. And also like the costumes and sets, like we're in this 1930s Budapest, and it's like this grand version of 1930s Budapest where, you know, there's money and it's like lovely and everything's sparkly. So I think we're in this perfumery. We get to see like the glass bottles, and we get to see these lovely dresses that Audrey gets to wear. And so just like the design elements too are really sort of uplifting that jewel box status. Yeah.
And as a director, I'm sure every director tries to make every production their own. So what kind of touches are you adding to this one?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was actually just talking to Audrey about this because I was like, I don't know. I think that as a director, my goal is to really see the piece of theater and see the cast and crew that we have and try to sort of like guide them to a place where everyone feels like they're adding something to the production and they're lifting up the text and the story. And so I don't know so much if I have like a mark of my own. I'm trying to be like a good leader, and I'm trying to honor the text. But I also think that this show is from an era of musical that we know very well, but not many people know this production or this show very well. And so I think I want to honor it and not like put like it's not set in like or not set in modern day, so that like we can see what the intention was of the musical, so that people can really be exposed to this musical in sort of a more traditional way, because it's lesser known.
Yeah, that's great. And I don't know if this is a lot about writing letters, and so has this changed kind of how you read emails, both of you? How about you?
I don't know if it's changed the way I read emails, but I really love letter writing. And it's something that actually is really close to my heart. I have had a lot of friends who studied abroad, and we've been writing letters to each other and putting like little doodles in there or tags of tea. And I think it's just such a sweet way of showing love. It's just such a labor of love, especially when it's so easy to write an email or send a text. To actually sit down and write a letter and send it to someone, I think is just so sweet. And so this show has made me like want to do more letter writing, because I think I'm rarely more excited than I am when I get a letter. So
is it the same for you?
Definitely. I love letters. I never write them. And I was thinking about when I was like in middle and high school, and we used to pass notes to each other, and I feel like it's that feeling of like the little surprise inside, and like knowing you're getting getting a little message from someone you love. But yeah, the email thing reminds me of work, but letters are never work. Letters are always just like a labor of love, and someone's actually sitting down and putting time into it, and you get to see their handwriting. And so like those are all really personal things that I think are really special in letter writing.
Absolutely. And Audrey, we've been talking a lot about the character you play, but let's learn a little bit more about you. So you're a junior at UVM. Are you studying theater?
I am. I'm a theater major and a dance minor.
That's great. So when you were growing up, did you kind of see this for yourself?
Yes. I grew up very much a theater kid. I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I did a lot of theater. My whole family loves music and performing, and so it's something I've always loved. But coming to college, I originally was a psychology major. I was going to go into cognitive science. And after like about a week of classes, I was like, no.
Never mind.
And I changed to a theater major, and I have not looked back once because I love it so much. And yeah, as soon as I started working with the theater program and became a theater major, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be.
All right, we only have a few seconds left, but are you going to keep doing this after college?
Hopefully, yes.
All right.
That's the plan.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
And She Loves Me opens at UVM's Royal Tyler Theater this Wednesday, March 26th, and runs through the 29th with a matinee on Sunday, March 30th. All the information you need is on the screen. And that takes care of our program for today. My thanks to the crew behind the scenes here at WCX, who are always bursting into song. I'm Jolie Whitney. This is Across the Fence. Have a good one.